I'm Ann Hardy, a 2002 automated machine packaging graduate and current member of the Alumni Board of Managers. The Alumni Board of Managers sponsors this event for alumni, friends, students, and staff of Dunwoody Monthly. It is my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Charlie Westling. From investment banker to public company CEO to family business CEO and board chair of Dunwoody, Charlie Westling has had a variety of leadership experiences. Charlie is the CEO of Computype, a leading global provider of automatic identification and barcode and RFID labeling solutions for the healthcare and industrial markets. He joined Computype in 2010 as an outside CEO to help lead the transition from first to second generation family ownership while accelerating the company's global growth strategy. Previously, Charlie was the president and CEO of Westling Corporation, a publicly traded IT systems integrator and solutions provider of the data center technologies. And during the first part of his career, he was an investment banker, assisting technology companies in raising capital and growing their businesses through mergers and acquisitions. In addition to serving as chair of the board of trustees for Dunwoody College of Technology, Charlie Westling is a member of the board of directors at Bremer Financial Corporation. Please join me in welcoming Charlie Westling.
Morning. Good morning. I am thoroughly impressed we got the front row all filled up. I usually have to put dollar bills down in our company to get people to come to the front. So it's great to be here. Thank you all for coming. It's amazing what a good breakfast can do to get people to turn out. We'll see if the speaker also is part of the equation. So I want to do something different to talk about this thing called leadership. I'm going to invite you all to join me in a time machine. And we're going to go back 35 years, to 1982. We're all graduate students at Kellogg School of Management at Northwestern University in Westling. We're second-year students. We're going to one of the finest business schools in the country, and we're going to learn how to be leaders. We're sitting in an auditorium, and that night, the CEO of the world's 5th largest company is going to come and talk to us about leadership. We're all really excited. So he comes in and he talks to us for 45 minutes. Guy in his 50s, gray hair, gets up to the podium, has a scripted lecture, and he talks about the strength of leadership, the decisiveness of leadership, the clarity of leadership. Everything's black and white. We listened to his speech, and 2 days later, we're talking, and I don't think anybody remembered what he said. And 35 years later, frankly, a lot of what he said, I think, wasn't so true. So what I want to do today is I want to share with you what I've learned over the last 35 years about leadership, and really what I wish I had known then that I know now. And my hope is, through the course of the next half hour or so, there's 2 or 3 things that I can impart in our discussion that you could take away and say, unlike that guy 35 years ago, where 2 days later we forgot it all, hopefully 1 or 2 things kind of stick with you and make an impression and make a difference. So, in order to do that, I got to tell you a little bit about my story. Because you should be asking the question, what does this guy know about leadership? So, it starts with growing up in Bright, Minnesota. So I'm a local guy. Grew up in the northern suburbs. I was the oldest of 3 boys. My dad was a school teacher. My mom was a full-time stay-at-home mom. Sports. Really competitive. In fact, we used to compete for who could eat the most at the dinner table the fastest. But I grew up in New Brighton, went to Irondale High School, played sports, Wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do when I finished high school, so I decided I wanted to go to a school where I could play basketball. I was pretty good at it, get a good education, and then I just kind of figured it out. So I went from New Brighton to Carleton College down in Northfield. And I studied economics. I played basketball for 4 years. Really good experience, great school. And graduated from Carleton and really didn't know what I wanted to do. So I said, well, I think I want to do something in business. So, and I don't really know exactly in business what I want to do, so I decided I would go to Northwestern and get my MBA in telex. And so I did that. My second year, I took a class in banking and finance, got excited about that, and started my career, really my first full-time job as a commercial banker for Chicago in the mid-1980s. That bank at the time was one of the largest banks in the world, thousands of people. And I joined it as part of the training program, learned how to be a banker. Did that for 3.5 years, was able to get promoted, decided that was kind of boring, I learned what I wanted to learn, and I left banking, started a consulting company with some classmates from mine, from Kellogg, in the financial services world. We built the business with 3 people, no revenues, to 10 people, about 5 million revenues in 3 years. Living the life as a consultant, on airplanes all the time, decided I wanted to do something different. So decided to come back to Minnesota, and I started my investment banking career at Gain Basel in the 1990s. I did that for 7 years. I was head of the technology investment banking practice. I left Gain Basel, went to work for a company called John G. Kennard, ran their corporate finance department, and that was my first opportunity to really lead a team. That was in the late 90s. Get into the 2000s, and I decided, you know, this thing called investment banking is interesting, it's fun, the adrenaline of doing deals, raising money, helping companies make acquisitions. I had watched and observed lots of different leadership teams, CEOs, managements, and said, boy, I wonder if I could do something like that. To go from the sidelines to getting in the game. And so I decided to make a change and get into the corporate world. And I started my corporate career at a company called Agility, which was an IT company back in the world of managed hosting and application service providers. Some people that technology folks can probably relate to that. Did that for a few years, early stage startup company. Left Agility, went to work for a company called DataLink. That was at the time a publicly traded company in the IT data storage world. I started as head of business development, and became head of marketing, product management. The company was having some financial difficulties, so I was promoted to president, which was a big step for me to run the company on a day-to-day basis. Became CEO, did that through 2009, and in 2010, I joined Computype as the CEO of a family-owned business going from first to second generation ownership, and I've been the CEO of Computype for the last 7 years. So that's my story. And along the way, I joined the Dunwoody board in 2008, which at the time was a really challenging time for Dunwoody. And it's just really great to be able to see how the school has evolved and grown, and all the things that you've done to make this just a tremendous and vibrant community. And now I'm proud to tell you that I'm chair of the board. And as was mentioned, I'm also on the board of directors of Dunwoody Financial. So that's my story. And as I we can get this work. This is all part of the preparation advance. All right. So, what have I learned? I told you my story. You can make the decision as to whether or not you think I know something about leadership. But let me lay out for you what I learned. Myth number 1, leadership is top-down. We have this perception that CEOs, leaders are larger than life. Patton leading the troops. Jack Welch, GE, 1980s and 90s, larger than life CEO. I'm a product of the 80s and 90s growing up. The guy, Coca, Chrysler Corporation. That was leaders, top down, big, strong, make those decisions. The reality, everybody's a leader. Everybody in this room leads. Let me tell you a quick story that really hit this home for me. Everyone in an organization leads. We were having some challenges at Westling. The company had lost money for 8 quarters, 2 years. And I was promoted as president and CEO to turn the company around. And one of our field engineers, as he was working with one of our customers, realized there was an opportunity to provide a service for that customer. And he started to think about what that service offering could be. And then he talked to his other field engineers across the company. And pretty soon, one idea became an idea of about 20 people who created a service, defined it, developed it, and then took it up to leadership. Product management, head of sales, head of technology, ultimately to me as CEO. And what we did as leaders is we just listened and said, you know, that's a great idea, go for it. Within 6 months, the idea of that one engineer became a service offering that impacted the company's revenues by 20%. And within 9 months after launching that service, the company went from losing money to being profitable. That wasn't my idea. That wasn't top-down leadership. That was leadership at the very base of the company. Huge, huge impact on how we made the company successful. Whether it's in your personal lives, whether it's here at Dunwoody in the class with your co-reports, whether it's the things that you are doing or will do in your career, I would submit to you that you're all leaders. You have an opportunity to lead. And it doesn't reside in the corner office of that gray-haired CEO. Another myth. People are naturally born leaders. Boy, I wish that were the case. It's not. Leadership takes continual practice and effort. You don't want to wake up one day and say, I got this thing. You got to work at it. Another story. First Chicago, the company I worked for. There was a guy, Dick Thomas, he was the president of the company. Several thousand people, really successful leader. And Dick was effortless, the way he interacted with people, the way he listened, the way he talked to people, the way he motivated people. And I watched him and I observed him. And I had a chance, I went to him and I said, Dick, you're a great leader. It just seems so natural. How do you do it? He said, Charlie, I'm like a duck paddling on water. What you see on top is really calm. I'm paddling like crazy underneath the surface. And what he meant was he was learning and watching other people throughout the bank and how they led. And he was learning things from each of them that he was applying to how he was leading. Whether it was communication or his style or his approach to things. So that taught me a great lesson that this is something that you get in the game and you do. The third, and this is really a product of the 80s, 90s, 2000s, it's great to understand that this, I think, is becoming more and more a distant myth. But I think sometimes people think leadership is for middle-aged men. The reality is great leadership knows no age, no race, no gender. I'll go back to First Chicago, early in my career. 15,000 employees, not too many VPs. That was kind of a hallowed place to get to. And one of the VPs was a woman that I worked for. African-American woman in her 30s. Didn't fit the profile of white, gray-haired male in his 50s. She led one of the most successful businesses within the bank, and I had the privilege to work with her and for her. She was a tremendous leader. And that opened my eyes early in my career to say, boy, anyone can lead. Leadership is clearly defined. It's black and white. It's decisive, it's bold. That's the myth. Reality, folks embrace the gray zone. If you think about technology and information and the political world we live in and the economic world we live in, are there many things that are black and white today? It's really great. There's all kinds of uncertainty. And we as leaders want to have all the information we can have. We want to process it all. We want to put it in that regression equation, and out spits the answer. It doesn't work that way. Give you an example of the gray zone. We at Computype recently launched a product for our tires, where we put labels on tires, and we developed an applicator to automate the process of putting labels on tires. We had an opportunity to do this for a large tire plant in Brazil. So we hadn't done this before. We had developed the equipment and the technology to do it. We're doing it in Brazil, which while we're a global company, Computype, we have operations in the UK and here in Roseville, and we've got people throughout Europe and North America. This was a new place for us, with a new technology and a new solution. And we looked for all the answers. We wanted to assess every aspect of this opportunity. We were doing all this analytical work, and we didn't know all the things we wanted to know. But what we did know is the customer had really a need for this solution. We had an opportunity to help them figure it out. And we jumped into it with both feet. We probably had 60% of the information that we would have wanted to have in a perfect world. But we decided to go for it. Now, if we waited for the black and white, and waited for perfect information and all the things we needed to make a decision, put the resources to go and do it, I think we'd still be thinking about it right now. And that was a year ago. And somebody else in the market probably would have figured it out going back. But we took a chance. We brought us a team together. They worked together. We developed the equipment. We developed the solution. It didn't work quite very well right out of the gate. We had to iterate, change it, make it better. 2 or 3 iterations. Finally, it works. The customer's happy. We're doing something unique and different in our industry. We have a chance to really take the company in a great direction with this solution. The point to this story is it wasn't black and white. It wasn't clear. We made the decision. It was gray. We tried. We failed initially. We got it better. Ultimately, we figured out we were successful. So, embrace the gray zone. We all like black and white. It's, in the world we're living in today, increasingly, you have to embrace the gray so you can get to the black and white. Myth number 5. It's lonely at the top. You have this vision that you're the CEO or you're the leader of this team and you've got these tough decisions to make. And you're on this island. These are life and death, and it's like, whoa, what do you do? What I've learned is I lead best when I realize that leadership's a team sport. When you bring other people onto the island with you, and you have them help you influence what ultimately you decide what you lead the team to. We recently made some changes at Computype in our leadership team. Changes that would allow people to have expanded responsibilities and other people on the senior team that were going to have a different responsibility, in some ways less. So I'm the CEO and I'm agonizing over this decision. How it's going to impact people in a really positive way and other people in a really not as positive way, and people that have been with the company for years and years. How do we do this? And I decided to get off the island. And I decided to throw out some of the challenges to the team, those that were affected by the decision, and ask them for their perspectives on how we could go forward, how we could be better, what changes could we make. And you know what was interesting? The decisions that we ultimately made came from them. Now, I had been thinking about them, and I was intending us to get there, but they, all the people that were affected by these decisions, started to surface up the clarity of what we needed to do. Early in my career, something like that I would have done by myself. I had agonized it. I probably had a few tossing and turning nights. been on that island that I made the decision. But in this case, I got off the island. I got other people with me. We made that decision together. Last myth, the best producers are the best leaders. I see it all the time, whether it's best salesperson, best engineer, best technical, best whatever, right? Reality, that's not always the case. It requires a different mindset, a different skill set to lead. When I was at Kennard in my investment banking days, we had a really good sales producer, institutional sales guy who was great at what he did. Best by far in the whole group of 10. And so we needed to make a change in leadership for that group. So we did what you typically do. We said, as a salesperson, we're going to make him the leader of the sales team. So we did that. Within 6 months, 3 of the other 10 people left. The first year, the sales were down 15%. Why? Because this great sales producer didn't really appreciate that for him to succeed, everybody on the team needed to succeed. And it wasn't just about the deals he could do that he used to do by himself. It was how does he succeed for the team and with the team. So, what have I learned over the last 35 years? When it comes to leadership, jump in early and jump in on. Do not be afraid to lead. You're doing it. Embrace the opportunity. Don't wait for the person 3 runs up the org chart to do all the leading. Figure out projects, situations, opportunities that you will be in front of, that you have an idea, that you can bring other people into that idea, and together you can lead a solution for that idea, or take advantage of that idea. Listen twice as much as you talk. Got 2 of these, 1 of these. We all hear that all the time. It is so tempting as leaders to do a lot of this. I've learned over the years that there's a direct relationship between the amount of time that I spend listening and how good a job I'm doing. And there tends to be an inverse relationship between the amount of time that I talk and how good a job I'm doing as a leader. It is so tempting when you get into that leadership role, wherever you are in that organization, to say, okay, now I'm on. I've got to talk. I've got to be the voice. And if you're smart, what you realize is that voice, you're that voice through the voices of many other people on your team. And to get that voice, you have to ask questions, you have to listen, you have to understand. And then you can clarify and help bring that voice to the team, to the company, to the family, to whatever the situation is that you're leading. Your job is not an entitlement to lead. It's amazing the number of times I've seen people that they get that title, vice president, chief this, chief that. And the expectation is, therefore, I'm going to lead because I have this title. What I realized is that the title doesn't entitle you to lead. People can choose to follow you or not. They don't generally follow you because of your title. You might be in an organization where you've got boxes and structures, and yes, I got to follow, but really, truly, the people that want to follow a leader aren't looking at the title, they're looking at how the person leads. Do they understand where the team is trying to go? Are they motivated to help get there? Do they understand how they can contribute to it? How they have a purpose in it? Can they contribute to formulating the idea that needs to be develop to get to that place that the team needs to go is their perspective value. They're not thinking that way because somebody's got a title and they sit above them in the org chart in a box above. They get there because they truly are motivated, appreciated, and they resonate with that leader where the team's trying to go and how they can be part of it. Be who you are, not who others perceive you to be. This is a really interesting one for me. Because there's sometimes this feeling that as a leader, especially if you're a CEO, you have to be a CEO at work, and then you can be somebody else when you're not at work. What I've learned is if I can be the same person either place, I'm better than both. I'll give you another story that really kind of impacted me. So when I became the CEO of Westling back in the 2004-2005 timeframe, we were losing money. And I'm up in front of the company. I've been just announced as the CEO of Westling, public company, losing money, difficult thing. People are concerned, are we going to have to cut a bunch of people, jobs, all that stuff. We're at the time several $100 million in revenue, several hundred employees, what are we going to do? So I'm the new CEO and I get up and I've got all the company. And I'm thinking about, okay, how am I going to send a message or create an impression that will help us move the company to that place we need to get. One of the things that is really important to me in any situation is humor and not taking yourself too seriously. And so I came up with this idea. I figured people are going to want to get a sense of my leadership style. So what I did, how many of you have seen the movie Animal House? Okay? Great movie. Classic movie. There's 3 scenes in the movie about leadership that I used to convey to the group how I'm going to try not to lead. There's the scene where John Butarski gets in front of the group after the fraternity has been kicked out of the school. And he says, over? It's not over. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? And he runs out. Are you with me? And everybody sat there. Westling, you got to all be together before you go, right? Then there was another scene in the movie. At the end, they're doing the parade. Kevin Bacon, he's the cop, or the ROTC guy, and everybody that's all craziness, and it's just madness in the streets. And he's like, all is well, all is well. Remember, he just gets run over, and he's imprinted into the ground. Right into the ground, as people are running by him. And then the third scene that I used was the one saying, right at the end, where the marching band, they're marching, they're playing, and the leader marches them right into a dead end, and they go right into the wall. My point is, so I played all 3 of those things. I said, okay, everybody laughed. I said, the point is, I'm going to try not to lead in any of those ways. I'm going to lead in a way where it's all about us. We're going to listen. We're going to bring the best ideas. And what it did is it sort of, I think, immediately brought people to, okay, we're going to be all right. It's tough right now, but we're going to be okay. And I wanted to convey as a leader, it's all right to have some humor. It's all right to understand what the seriousness of the situation, but have some context for it. I wanted to bring a part of me to that opportunity. So I wasn't going to come up there and be the CEO, scripted with all the strong, decisive answers. I wanted to diffuse it. I wanted to have people say, okay, we'll be okay. Let's laugh first, and then we'll figure out how we get to where we need to go. And the last thing that I've learned a lot, but the last thing I'd say today is failure is a necessary ingredient for success. Back to, we're not naturally born at this. You work at it. You have great days and not such great days. You make really good decisions, you have not such good decisions. You have really good team outcomes, not such great team outcomes. One of the things that hit home to me on this, I've been a CEO at 2 different companies for 12 years. Been really blessed and privileged to do what I do. And when I joined Computype 7 years ago, we did a strategic plan, and we said, okay, where are we going to take the company? And I'm the new CEO. I said, well, let's tell people we're going to go double the business. We're going to go double sales in the next 5 years. Because that's what CEOs do. It's our numbers, and we're going to double, and we got these big numbers, bold. We laid it out to all of the company. And I'm excited that, man, I can resonate with the numbers, and we're going to go climb that number hill. And what I realized is about a week after we had our big presentation, a whole company meeting, we're talking about this, people didn't care. It all fell flat. They didn't care about them. Those numbers meant nothing to them. What I didn't do is I didn't connect the numbers back to everybody in the company. If we can do this, what does it mean for me? And then we changed the message and said, it's all about growth. It's the growth of our customers, it's the growth of our people. That's what we're about. That's our vision, that's our strategy. And if we do that, the numbers will come. And when we started to talk about growth and made it personal, that's what resonated with us. I failed the first time. We got it better the second time. So, I guess I'd wrap this up by sharing with you something that has really profoundly affected me through my career, my leadership career. When I got promoted to be CEO of Westling back in 2004, that was my first opportunity to lead an entire company. And one of my mentors sent me a note. He said, Charlie, congratulations on your leadership opportunity. Do me a favor and go Google Teddy Roosevelt's Citizen of the Republic, Man in the Arena speech, and read that speech. There's a passage from it. Read it and embrace it and have it guide and motivate you in your new journey of leadership. So I want to show you what that was. Let me read it to you. This is 1910, Teddy Roosevelt talking in Paris, France. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause. And this is the part that really hits home. Who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. The message to that story is, get in the arena. Don't be afraid to fail. Dare greatly. So my final thought in this 35-year time machine journey that we've taken in the last 40 minutes is, I wish for all of you to choose to live and lead in the arena. Thank you.